to this university and this community for graciously hosting us here today. It's a pleasure to see all of these local legislators here. I'm glad you're home, and particularly glad you're home. Last time I heard from you, it was just a broadcast. It was 9,000 miles away. So these men and women did admirable work for you during this last legislative session, a very grueling legislative session, but I can say one thing with certainty: that hard work paid off. And you all have recovered nicely, it looks like. I also want to recognize the military personnel that are here today, those of you with the DAV, the Purple Heart recipients. Thank you for particularly being with us today, and the veterans that are in the audience that we can't recognize directly, but thank you for your great service to this country, and of course to these young men and women who are serving our country at this particular point in time. I'm just back from Iraq and Afghanistan, where we are amazingly proud of the work that is being done in Iraq and creating a democracy in a part of the world where they've never tasted freedom before, and our young men and women are doing an extraordinary job, and we pray for them, and we can never fully repay the sacrifice that these men and women have made on behalf of our country. But the legislation that we're discussing here today, that we're going to put pen to paper on, is a way that we can show appreciation for all that's been done to keep us free. Here in Texas, we have the second most active duty military families of any state, save Virginia. As Texas-based service members from places like Fort Hood and from Lackland Air Force Base, Joint Reserve Base Fort Worth, they serve in theaters all over the world. We owe them not only our gratitude, but the support for their families, and obviously, and I think appropriately, that honorable welcome to them when they return. And because education is such an essential part of making it in the world today, and because of the presence that veterans make in strengthening the state of Texas, I called on the legislature to extend in-state tuition rates to eligible veterans. And with the passage of Senate Bill 297, they did me one better. And not only by granting that request, but also extending those benefits to the spouses and children of eligible veterans. And I might add, they also waived tuition completely for the children of Texas residents that the military has deployed for combat operations. We wanted to send a message all across this country, around the world, if you will, that veterans who would otherwise be considered out of state will be able to maximize their benefits, and their families can save up to $8,100 a year if they take 30 semester hours at a Texas public university. That's a whole lot of money. That's a real impact on people's lives that are trying to make that challenging transition from military life to civilian life. I would especially like to thank Senator Van de Putte and Representative Court. They worked tirelessly to move this legislation through the process, to make sure that it was passed. And I'd also like to thank our legislature for passing Senate Bill 93, which also makes some essential improvements to the Hazelwood Act. And as you know, the Hazelwood Act has been evolving for some time, but it's been providing veterans with the means to continue their education and their forward momentum in life. It's helped a lot of folks who entered the armed forces from Texas. Military service not only places a unique demand on the men and women who wear the uniform, but it also calls for substantial sacrifices by their families. Senate Bill 93 updates the Hazelwood Act to reflect that reality. by extending those educational benefits to the spouses of military members who were killed or completely disabled as a result of their service. In addition, it allows veterans to extend those unused benefits to their eligible children, passing on that legacy, if you will, of their service and the opportunity to improve another life through education. These changes are necessary, and I might add well-deserved, and constitute our state's effort to make good on our commitment of your service and to honor your service. You're blessed to live in the great state of Texas. But we are more blessed as a state and a nation to have men and women like you who call this home. This is our best effort to continue to say thank you. Okay, I got a pen for him.